It is recording now. Well, welcome everybody for joining. Thank you for joining our Study Abroad Info session. This is an info session about studying abroad in Spain specifically. My name is Nydia Dominguez, and I am one of the Study Abroad advisors at UCSD. I will be talking about Spain and the different ways that you can study abroad in Spain. But hopefully you were able to do this with your confirmation email. You had a few videos that I sent over about getting started. It kind of provides a more basic context about studying abroad in general. So if you didn't have the chance to talk, to look through those short clips, I do have a QR code here for you to look through that information because it is helpful, but I'm not going to be going over that information too in depth in this presentation. So this getting started information is more like basic, and then this presentation goes a little bit more in depth about the programs offered in Spain. So we're going to go ahead and start it to talk about the UCEAP programs. We do have 8 programs offered in Spain through UCEAP. And most programs that are offered through UCEAP in Spain are offered in Madrid and Barcelona. So those are the 2 major cities that are offered through UCEAP. And if you wanted to consider somewhere outside of Barcelona or Madrid, then you might consider OAP. And OAP and UCEAP are very similar, except for the major differences are that with OAP, you do get transfer credit instead of UC credit. And then for UCEAP, you're able to use any of your financial aid, whereas with OAP, you can use federal and state aid like Pell Grants, which is federal aid, or Cal Grants, which is state aid, but you can't use any UC grants. So if you receive a UC grant, you're not able to use it for an OAP program. But other than that, you could use your state or federal funding for studying abroad. And then OAP will have, like I mentioned, a lot more options outside of Madrid and Barcelona. So if you wanted to consider anything outside of that with UCEAP, you could do OAP. And I won't talk too much about OAP today. I'm going to mainly focus on UCEAP, but I will have some resources to share with you about OAP in case you're interested. For UCEAP, we have different program offerings. So these are the programs that are offered in the for fall, spring, or year terms. So the University of Barcelona, there's a program for the University of Barcelona, and this one is offered in fall, spring, and a year option. They have a 2.75 GPA minimum requirement, and they do have a language prerequisite. And I'm going to talk about language prerequisites a little bit later in the presentation as well. For Complutense, this is in Madrid, and it's a 2.75 GPA minimum eligibility requirement. They offer programs in the fall and a year option, and this also has a language prerequisite. Then there's a Sustainable Food Systems in the Mediterranean program. This is a multi-site program, so it's in both Spain and Italy. There's a 2.5 GPA requirement, and they only offer this program in the fall semester. And there is not a language prerequisite. And then Carlos III University of Madrid, that's a 2.75 GPA requirement. They offer fall and spring options, and there is no language prerequisite for this program, but it is a capacity constraint program. And I will also talk about capacity constraint programs shortly. For UCEAP semester programs, or summer programs, sorry if this is wrong. These are the summer options that they have for UCEAP. They have a program in Barcelona, it's called Beyond Barcelona. The GPA requirement is 2.75. There isn't a language prerequisite, but it is a capacity constraint program. And then Spanish in Madrid is a 2.0 GPA requirement, and there is also a language prerequisite. For 21st Century Barcelona, it's a 3.0 GPA, no language prereq. And then Python and data science is a 2.5 GPA requirement, no language prerequisite, and it is a capacity constraint program. And then just to note, this Python and data science program, it's really for people who are interested in learning about Python and data science. It's not for people who are majoring in this because it is a very basic level information about Python and data science. It's not really in depth. So if you're majoring in this, this probably won't be a great program for you because you probably already know that information. Oh, shoot, I stopped sharing. Let me share my screen again. Okay. So for the language prerequisite, so if you're looking at the UCAP website and you're in one of these programs that have a language prerequisite, you'll see that for the University of Barcelona and for Complutense, the language prerequisite that says on the eligibility site, it'll say that you need a minimum of 6 quarters of Spanish language in order to meet the requirement. And so for that what that means for UCSD students is that you must have taken LTSP 2C or plan to by the time of the program start date. So that's really important. So if you wanted to really do University of Barcelona or Complutense, but you don't meet the language requirement, you can still do the program, but you would only be able to take English courses, so courses that are taught in English. So this is really, really important because if you don't meet the language requirement, then you'll want to take courses taught in English. But for University of Barcelona and for Complutense, most courses are offered in Spanish or in Catalan. And so there are very limited options offered in English. So what you'll want to do is look through the course catalogs for each of these programs and see if there's enough offerings in English for the course that you would want to take to make sure that this is a right fit for you. So a lot of these programs will have you do a minimum of 4 courses that you need to take while you're abroad. And so you'll really want to make sure that you can find, at least 5 or 6 courses in English that that you might want to take abroad so that you can know that this program would still work out for you if you don't meet that language requirement. For Spanish in Madrid, I mentioned that there is a language requirement on there, but there isn't a minimum of Spanish that you would need to take. There's actually a maximum for this one. So the reason for this is that Spanish in Madrid is very basic level Spanish program. So it's for you to learn the basics of Spanish. So if you've already taken LISP 1C or 5C or anything above that, then you are not eligible for this program because it would be kind of repeated information for this program. So just make sure that if you're taking Spanish in Madrid, it's because you're really starting to learn Spanish and you haven't taken anything, if you haven't taken 1C or 5C here at UCSD or have the equivalent to it at least. All right, for capacity constraints. Okay, this one's really, really, really important. We have a few programs in Spain that are limited capacity. So what that means is that UCAP has a certain number of spots available for all UC students to do this program, this particular program. And so the application process is slightly different for these programs. Beyond Barcelona, for instance, for Beyond Barcelona and Carlos III and Sustainable Food Systems in the Mediterranean, these are all limited capacity programs. So all of these applications will open up on November 1st on the UCAP portal instead of a regular date of October 1st. So all other applications that don't have limited capacity opened up October 1st on the My EAP, like the UCAP portal. But for these limited capacity ones, they open up November 1st. And for Trying Abroad, so when you're applying for studying abroad, you do 2 applications. One will be with UCAP and one with our Trying Abroad portal. And the Trying Abroad portal already has have these applications open. So you can start your application for any of these programs already this month. But then you won't be able to submit your UCAP application until November 1st. So it'll be really, really important that if you're considering any of these 3 programs, that you submit your application as soon as possible. So as soon as it opens, so that day on November 1st. Specifically for this Carlos III University of Madrid, I'll highlight this one because it is the most popular option for most students. So because it is limited capacity, there is a chance that it gets full and you're not able to apply for the program. So you just want to make sure that you apply the day that the applications open up, so that you have a more a higher chance of getting a spot in this program. And just in case, I would encourage everybody that is considering any of these programs to just have a backup option in case this one doesn't work out. Right, for academics, obviously academics are a very important part of studying abroad. I've listed out a few resources here to look through if you want to look through like courses that you might want to take or anything like that. So the program website for each program that you consider on the UCAP website, they'll have information about the academics on there. So there's different tabs like dates and eligibility, housing, things like that. And there's one specific tab for academics. So I recommend everybody check the academics tab for the program website. And under the academics tab, there will be links to the course catalogs for that specific program. So that's where you'll be able to browse through the university's course catalog for the courses that you might want to take while you're abroad. So that's a really important one. We do also have a major advising page where it's on our study abroad website, so studyabroad.ucsd.edu. There's an academic planning page, and that one has like a drop down where you can find your major and then see if it lists out any particular programs that are popular within your major, or sometimes it links you to the study abroad site of your particular major, things like that. So it's a good place to look for additional resources. There's a UCEAP course catalog, which can also be found under the course catalogs on academics. It lists out all the courses UC students have taken on your particular program. So you can look at these. This one can be a little bit outdated at times, just because with the pandemic, a lot of students didn't go abroad for the last couple of years. So just be mindful of that. Same with the Campus Credit Abroad database, but with this database, you're able to look at the type of credit that students from UCSD received at your particular location that you're interested in. And then the academic planning form obviously is a very important part of the application process. And the academic planning form has you fill out or list out the courses that you plan to take abroad. And you have this form then reviewed by your major and your college advisors. And they would be able to provide feedback on the courses that you want to take abroad and whether it makes sense for you to take them or not. All right, so I'm gonna just go over a few things that you should consider when doing these programs. So this is for the University of Barcelona. The UCAP has like an agreement with the University of Barcelona that you can enroll in a maximum of 2 of these Estudios Hispánicos courses, and you have them listed here. These are all offered in English. So, if you're considering this program and you don't meet the language prerequisite, these are some of the courses that you can take, but you can only enroll in 2 of these courses. And the reason why they've given us this option is because the business and economics majors at the University of Barcelona are highly impacted. So you're really not guaranteed to get any courses in these 2 specific majors. So they've offered, guarantee in these other courses, but just keep in mind that these business and economics majors are impacted. So getting courses or enrolling in courses for these majors might be a little bit difficult. And then things to consider for Madrid, or for Carlos III University of Madrid. This is, like I mentioned, the most popular program because it lets students take courses fully in English. I think it's, it's mostly for social sciences, international studies, and business courses. And one thing to note for sure is that they do not offer any psychology courses. And like I mentioned before, this is a limited capacity program. Program will be full, guaranteed. So if you want to do this program, you have to apply early. All right, and so I have a QR code here again for anybody that is that wants the step-by-step process to apply. This is like a step-by-step on how to apply for UCAP. It's really helpful, this handout. I've just listed out general steps here. So you will start an application on the UCAP Entrance Abroad portals, and you'd select the program there. Like I mentioned about the academic planning form, you'd be doing that through Entrance Abroad. And then you'd want to make sure you submit application on both portals by or before the deadline, definitely before the deadline for the programs that are limited capacity. And then after you've submitted your applications, you'd just be on the lookout for emails from our office and from UCAP to let you know about what the next steps are. And finally, OAP programs. That's like I mentioned, different ways to study abroad. And OAP does have options outside of Barcelona and Spain. So if you're considering OAP programs, these are some things that I just would want you to make sure to check on. So we do have affiliate program providers for OAP, and these are like the third-party providers that have been vetted by our office already, and we know for sure that they follow the highest standards for professionalism, academic rigor, health, and safety support, and student satisfaction. So if you wanted to look at OAP programs, I would recommend to look at these program providers first. And then the dates, you have to be really mindful when you're looking through OAP programs for the dates that are offered for the programs, because for instance, for many summer options, they a lot of the times don't coincide with our quarter system. So you'll want to make sure that the start dates are not interfering with your spring quarter here, because if it's going along with the semester system, they sometimes start in mid-May or so, and that would interfere with spring quarter here. So you'll want to make sure that your program starts after mid-June or so. And the same thing for any other quarter, that you just make sure that it doesn't interfere with any of the quarters here at UCC. Another thing to know is that for your academic planning form, usually for UCAP programs, you have your major and your college advisors assign your academic planning form. But for OAP programs, you'll actually have your academic planning form reviewed by admissions first, and they would basically determine that they can receive credit from this university, wherever you're receiving your transcripts from, and they would tell you how many credits you receive for each course that you're taking, or units. Then the deadlines, just a note that the deadlines are very different than the UCAP ones. So for instance, if you're applying for a summer program through UCAP, summer deadlines would probably be either late fall or like early January for a summer 2023 program. Whereas OAP, they would give you more time, so usually like March or so for you to do your application for OAP. For OAP though, you still do submit an application on Trains Abroad, and then also on or through your third-party provider as well. All right, and so actually I'm going to share something really quick with you all on the chat before. So for OAP, I had created this document that I will share on the chat. Where is my chat? Okay. And I see that there's some questions on the chat, so I will answer questions in a bit. I'm sharing a link to a Google Doc that I created with all of our affiliate program providers and the programs that all of our affiliate program providers that offer programs in Spain. So I'm linking that Google document. It has links to every one of them for you to check out if you wanted to consider an OAP program. And then I just wanted to plug that we do have our City Abroad Fair coming up on Monday, October 17th. It's between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. at Town Square. This is our biggest event that we have for City Abroad. So if you had any questions about studying abroad in general or Spain or anything, you can stop by there and we'll have pretty much all of our office working at the fair. So you can have any of your questions answered. And then finally, I definitely wanted to leave a lot of time to answer any and all questions. So you can feel free to drop your questions in the chat or unmute yourself. I don't mind, whichever is your preference. But in the meantime, we'll just also add on the chat one final link, which is a link for a Spain alumni panel that I hosted last year or maybe earlier this year. And it's basically students who went to study abroad to Spain through UCAP, and they share kind of their experience about, you know, looking for housing and just their experience abroad in general. So that's a really helpful, more in-depth video or webinar that I hosted about Spain. So if you're interested to check that out, definitely feel free to do so. I've left the link on the chat. And I'm going to stop sharing now, and then I will take questions. I see that there's a question on the chat. It said, do you have programs at Estado Business School for any business or econ courses? I'm not familiar with that school or program. So I don't think it's offered through UCAP, but it might be something that's offered through OAP. And so just be kind of doing a little bit of research for that specific program. Any other questions that I can answer about any of the programs for Spain, either for UCAP or OAP? We are not offering appointments anymore, so this is a very great time to ask your questions, and I am the advisor for Spain, so I'm more than happy to answer any questions, or even about the application process for limited capacity or anything of that nature.
Hi, I just wanted to clarify that the deadline for was it the UCEAP is November 1st for fall quarter, if we're interested next year for fall?
Yes, if you want to study abroad in fall of 2023 for a limited capacity program, the application opens up November 1st. The deadline isn't until either January or February, but because for like Carlos III, it's a limited capacity program, the actual application deadline doesn't really matter as much because it will be full before then. So you just want to make sure to apply before. So as soon as the application opens, preferably. If you want to, oh, no, go ahead, Skylar.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. So for you were saying that Madrid is the most popular one?
Yes.
So if I'm interested in doing Madrid, my next step would probably be to look at the OAP programs if I've already taken like the LISP C courses.
That's if you're interested in the summer Spanish in Madrid program, then yes, because that program, you wouldn't be eligible for that program. But if you were looking for Complutense or Carlos III, University of Madrid, which are not offered during summer, they're offered fall or year or spring, then the language requirement is different for those programs.
Okay, so the language requirement is only if I were to go in the summer.
That language requirement is, but Complutense also has a language requirement, but that one is LTSP 2C or higher.
As in, we need to take that course in Madrid?
Yes, no, you would need to take it.
Okay.
You would take it before leaving because
Okay.
for Complutense, you would take LTSP2C before departure, or have taken it already even before applying. But that's important because most courses are offered in Spanish there, and so in order for you to take a course taught in Spanish and be successful in it, you would have to have completed that amount of Spanish. But if you wanted to take courses taught in English, then like I mentioned in the presentation, you would just have to make sure that you find enough courses that are taught in English for that.
Got it.
And you would not be able to take any courses taught in Spanish.
Oh, so if I took one course in English, I wouldn't be able to take any in Spanish.
If you don't meet the eligibility criteria. If you meet the eligibility.
Oh, sorry, right,
criteria,
I understand. Got it, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I did get a question in the chat. It's asked me, what about for this summer? So I think that they were talking about the application deadline, if you wanted to do summer 2023, I assume. And so if you want to do summer 2023, for the programs that we offer through UCAP, those deadlines I think are around January or February as well. But all the programs opened up their applications either October 1st or November 1st. They would only open up November 1st if they are a limited capacity program. So I think only Beyond Barcelona for a summer program is a limited capacity program. So all other program options in Spain for the summer would already be open on UCAPs, and you can start applying for those through Trains Abroad and through the UCAP portal. I got a question, what if it's for a history course? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I don't know if you want to unmute yourself or send me more messages. I don't mind either way. But I would just assume that if you were trying to take a specific course for your major or anything like that, that you're able to do that, just making sure that you look through the course catalogs and see if they offer courses in that particular topic you're interested in. And then look through the course descriptions that they list on there. A lot of the courses are also list out like the course syllabi, so you can look through that as well. Any other questions? I'm also going to have this, I'll probably share the presentation and well, yeah, like the PowerPoint slides, I'll probably share with everybody who registered. And then the recording will also be available online in like a few days or so. Yes, the course is offered. I'm getting these direct messages, that's why I'm answering these. The courses offered for each program are listed on each program website. So UCAP has a program website where you can look through each specific program, and under academics for each program, you will see course catalogs links on there, and that's where you're able to look through the courses that are offered.
Did you say that this is our only chance to be able to talk with someone about Spain? So if I were to head to the office on campus, I wouldn't be able to talk to anyone about it?
We have drop-ins on Mondays and Thursdays between 1 to 3 p.m. and then Fridays from 10 to 11:30, I think. And those are very virtual, so you can join drop-ins at any time, but they're mostly for like quick questions. So if you wanted to get more in-depth information, it would be through these info sessions, or sending us a message through back as well.
Okay, so okay, you were saying Monday through Thursday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Monday and Thursday, 1 to 3 p.m. And then Friday 10 to 11:30.
10 to 11:30.
Yeah.
10 a.m. to 11:30.
be a write-up.
Yes.
It's not for
AM?
Every single,
Yes.
this whole section. It tells
Why
you
is it so
everything you
limited?
take care of, and.
Because we only have certain like hours that we're able to provide for drop-in and phasing, because then we're also providing a lot of info sessions for all of the programs. And then we answer a lot of the questions sent in through Mac as well.
So is there no one who I can like talk to for a longer extended period of time, like in person, about like an individualized kind of program for me?
So